I live alone in a small apartment complex on the edge of the city. It's usually quiet here, aside from the occasional dog barking or kids playing outside. My unit is on the ground floor, and my living room window faces a small courtyard with a few trees and a bench. I work from home most days, with my desk set up right by the window so I can enjoy the natural light and occasional view of someone walking their dog or sitting on the bench. One Thursday afternoon, I was deep into my work when I noticed something odd. A woman in a long black coat was standing in the courtyard, right in the middle of the grass, staring at my window. At first, I thought maybe she was waiting for someone or just looking around, but she didn't move. She just stood there, her face partially obscured by her dark hair, her head slightly tilted. I couldn't tell if she was looking directly at me or just at the building. After a few minutes, I got up and closed the blinds. It was unsettling, but I convinced myself she was probably harmless, maybe lost or taking a break. When I peeked out again a little later, she was gone. The next day, I was back at my desk, trying to forget about the strange encounter. By mid-afternoon, I noticed movement in the courtyard again. This time, the woman was sitting on the bench, her hands resting in her lap, staring at my window again. My stomach dropped. Why was she back, and why here? I hadn't seen her in the neighborhood before. I decided to test her reaction. I stepped away from the window and watched her from the edge of the blinds. She didn't move, not even when a dog walker passed by. She seemed completely fixated on my apartment. That night, I couldn't shake the image of her. I checked the locks on my doors and windows twice before going to bed, but I still felt uneasy. Around 2 a.m. I woke up to the sound of faint tapping. I froze, my ears straining to locate the source. The tapping came again, this time louder, like someone gently knocking on my living room window. Terrified, I crept out of bed and into the living room. My curtains were drawn, but I could see a shadow through the fabric, a figure standing outside. My breath caught as the knocking grew louder and more deliberate. I didn't dare open the curtains or the window. Instead, I grabbed my phone and dialed 911, whispering to the operator about someone trying to get into my apartment. As I waited for the police to arrive, the knocking stopped. The silence was even worse. I couldn't hear footsteps, breathing, or anything that suggested someone was still there. When the officers arrived and checked the courtyard, they found no one. They assured me they would patrol the area but suggested it could have been a prank. The next day, I tried to move on, but I felt like I was being watched. I kept my blinds closed and avoided looking outside. That evening, as I was watching TV, I heard a faint rustling at my window. My heart raced as I peeked out through a small gap in the curtains. The woman was there again, her face pressed against the glass, staring into my apartment with unblinking eyes. I screamed and ran for my bedroom, locking the door behind me. I called the police again, my voice shaking as I told them the woman had returned. This time, when the officers arrived, she was gone, but they found smudges on the glass where her face had been. They told me to consider staying somewhere else for a while and promised to keep an eye on the building. It's been weeks since that night, and I haven't seen her again. But I can't shake the feeling that she's still out there, watching, waiting. Every creak of the floorboards, every shadow on the wall, feels like her. I don't know who she is or why she chose me, but the thought of her returning keeps me awake at night.